that are now
Thank
saying,
you.
I am struggling. This is such a new experience for me. High school was so easy. I had all my friends, and now I'm going to a new place. I have new roommates. It's a new city, new experiences, and I'm not doing well, and that's okay. Now, what I tell my student athletes is that there's never a time in your life for the 4 years that you're going to be at college that every single person that you come across on this university wants to see you succeed and do better.
That's right.
But the only way that we're going to see you do better and help you do better is if you tell us if you need help.
Welcome back to the Significant Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Rogers. Today's guest has worn just about every hat you can wear in athletics: student athlete, professional pitcher, administrator, coach, and now athletic director. Ryan Callahan's story begins on the mound at UW-Whitewater, where he was a 3-time all-conference pitcher and part of one of the most successful eras in Warhawk baseball history. His journey took him into the San Francisco Giants organization and eventually back home, this time to lead the very department where it all started. As director of athletics at UW-Whitewater, Ryan oversees 22 varsity programs and sits on the chancellor's cabinet, shaping the vision for an entire athletic department. Along the way, he's had the privilege of leading and supervising some of the true giants of Division III coaching, legends who have built powerhouse programs and shaped generations of student athletes. That experience has taught him not just how to manage, but how to lead, balancing respect for tradition with a vision for the future, and finding ways to help great coaches be even greater. In this conversation, you'll hear Ryan's perspective on leadership, the lessons that carried over from the diamond to the boardroom, and how working alongside coaching legends has shaped his own philosophy of what it means to build and sustain a championship culture. And before we dive in, if you'd like to schedule me, Matt Rogers, to speak at your school or organization, you can learn more and connect with me directly at coachmattrogers.com. All right, let's get into it. Here's my guest, Ryan Callahan. Ryan Callahan, so nice to see you. So excited to talk to you. You guys have built this world-class athletics program up there in Wisconsin. It's a hidden gem, and I'm excited to talk to you.
Thanks for having me, Matt. When you sent me some of the previous podcasts, I listened to Coach Gard, one of our competitors, to see what he had to say. And by the way, he did a great job. So I appreciate you promoting the Division III, the smaller college experience, which obviously is dear to my heart and dear to your heart. And it's pretty special.
It is. And I find myself getting on that D3 bandstand all the time because I had such a great experience. When I looked at Notre Dame, I looked at Illinois, I looked at Wisconsin, I looked at Marquette, and I ended up at Coe College in Iowa. And I'm so thankful that I did because I was a small town kid. And I realized once I got there how important it was for me to have smaller classrooms and be able to acclimate. I think I would have gotten lost if there was 25,000 kids on that campus.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was in a similar boat. When you're dreaming of playing college sports, you dream about playing Division I, Power Five, huge schools. And obviously that's a wonderful experience, I'm sure, for a lot of those student athletes, but you get lost in the anonymity of the larger schools. And I think when you're at a smaller school, you really are somebody, whether it's the dean of the college or the provost or the president or the athletic director, they know you. In a lot of those larger schools, they just don't have that personal interaction, personal touch, which I'm very grateful that I chose Whitewater and obviously you chose Coe. And you can probably name some of the administrators that you got to know or the coaches from other teams that you got to know. If you're at some of those bigger schools, you're not getting that experience.
I've said this way too many times on this podcast, but I walked out of Coe where the college president, the VP, the dean of students, and the chair of my department all made phone calls for me to help me get a job.
Yeah.
Where else outside of D3 are you going to get that?
Oh, 100%. Every year, I probably got about 20 to 25 letters of rec for students, whether it's student workers too, and student athletes that are looking to whether get a career in athletics or just move on with their career. And it's really a highlight to have that relationship with a lot of those up and coming professionals and being able to write a letter of rec. And selfishly, it's nice to be able to put like athletic director behind my name to say, hey, this might help.
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
just It's not just a random buddy that's writing you a letter of rec. So hopefully the title goes a long ways as well to help those kids move on or those young adults move on.
That's right. A college AD, that's a huge recommendation. Let's talk about your student workers because we haven't talked enough about that on the show. They're so valuable to an athletic department, especially at the D3 level, where you don't have millions of dollars in a budget. You don't have a huge staff. Those students become such a huge part of making sure the athletics runs. Talk a little bit about how many students you have, some of the roles they play, and why they're so valuable for you.
Yeah, we probably go in and out of about 40 to 50 student workers over the course of the year. Some of that's going to be graduation in the winter, and then some of that is going to be they just want more hours. Obviously, we have a few contests per week and then a number on the weekend. If they want to get a solid 30 hours a week, we really can't do that all the time. But our student workers, man, they're the backbone of who we are. I come from the support staff background, so I have a soft spot in my heart for the event management, the athletic trainers, the SIDs, the people that are walking the officials and the referees at halftime, making sure they got their water and everything else and doing that. And I've been so fortunate in the 6+ years that I've been in this role, and then another couple of years before that. We've had these student workers that are so handy with technology, unlike Matt, you and I, obviously, getting this
Yes.
podcast going. Our student workers would have figured this out in 2 minutes. It took us 21 minutes. They're running the scoreboard. They're putting stuff on the video board. They're running the stats to the coaches. They're getting there earlier, making sure that I referred to Coach Guard when Platteville men's basketball comes here, that somebody's meeting him.
Yep.
They look professional. They act professional, making sure that the student athletes that are coming here know where they're going. They have everything they need. And you said it earlier. We've been very fortunate. We have a successful program. And a lot of that means that a lot of people want to come play us and see what facilities we have.
Yeah.
September 6th, we have, I think, 6 volleyball games, a soccer game, and a football game, all in the matter of 8 hours. And we got a fleet of students that they're going to kill it. They're going to be running scoreboard. They're going to be helping out with some of our stats. They're going to be doing the live streaming. And if we didn't have our student force that we have, we wouldn't be able to accommodate and the flexibility that our coaches have with scheduling.
I remember when I got the AD job at Maryville in like 2002, and we didn't have an SID, we didn't have a compliance person, I didn't have an assistant AD. So I was trying to figure out stats, all the stat programs. I was trying to figure out compliance, and I was writing the 4-year study, the NCAA 4-year study. And if I wouldn't have had the student staff, I wouldn't have lasted a month because they kept me afloat. They were the ones that could do all the things and knew where all the buttons needed to be pushed and where everything needed to be. So I love that. What's cool about it, and where I want to dive in with you about that, is it's a great thing for your resume because if you want to be in athletics, there's nothing better than having a role in a department at any level.
Oh, for sure. And we talk even with our student managers. So if you look at some of the Power Four, Power Five schools, even the ones that some coaches in the NBA,
Yeah.
a lot of these men and women, they started as a video person for the women's basketball team at Whitewater, and then they got to go to the next school and the next school and the next school. And I think almost even more important, it gives them a taste of what it's like. You really like, do you want to work this night and do you want to work this weekend? Because if you're having a hard time coming as a 19-year-old to this place, once you find a partner and you potentially have a family, if it's hard at 20, it's going to be harder at 40. When you have a family at home saying, "Hey, when are you getting home? We got to do this and this." So it's really special. And I love the relationship that I have with the event managers because we're all grinding it out.
Yeah.
I always joke, hashtag D3 life. Like I might be taking tickets at the volleyball game on Saturday and being a ball boy on Monday for the women's soccer game. There's not a job that is too big or too small for you in administration in Division 3.
Yeah.
And then that kind of shows the student workers, man, if he's doing that,
Yeah.
I better do something too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just the relationships that you have, like I said, because you are grinding with them, you get to know them a little bit. You get to know who they are as people and what their aspirations are. And like you said, Matt, like if you can just be a reference, I've been around southern Wisconsin for 44 years now. Like if I know somebody that is in this company or in this business, making a side call saying, "Hey, look out for this person's resume. They're pretty talented." And especially the ones that are here were with me and my event people for 2, 3, 4 years. man, you get to know them.
Yeah.
I think my event manager was invited to a couple weddings in the last few years of like student workers that he's had. And the coaches get to know him too. So then they feel a little bit, I don't know, it helps their ego a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the football coach knows who I am, or the basketball coach knows who I am, or the soccer coach knows who I am. And our coaches do a great job of just giving them nothing but respect and saying hi to them. And I think they understand that can make their day when they see them in the hallway walking to class and just saying hi, how's your day going? But yeah, they definitely run our department on a lot of these weekends when we just have a ton of events going on.
It's such a fun experience. When you're in it, you're working 78-hour weeks in the heart of the season. When, like you said, when you've got 7, 8 games, you probably get there bright early in the morning, and you might not leave till 10, 11 o'clock at night. So it's such a long day. But when you have those relationships and you get to see the growth of those young people and what they're learning and how much maturity they're getting out of it, there's nothing better. I want to talk about your baseball career for just a little bit, because I think your experience going from D3, getting that time in the minor leagues, getting to play some big time professional baseball, what has that done to shape your leadership with your coaches and with your athletes?
I'll give you a little bit of a story. So one of my mentors was Paul Plinsky,
Yeah.
and Paul Plinsky is now at Colorado State Pueblo,
Yeah.
and he has a PhD. And when I was navigating my career, and I would bounce some ideas off of him, and he said, I would encourage you to get a PhD because it gets you in the door and it gets you immediate respect. Whether you deserve it or not, that's a different story. But when you walk into a department meeting with economics or marketing, the fact that you have that PhD is going to give you some credibility right there. And I think with a playing career, and there's a lot of ADs that have been very successful, far more successful than I am. But I think having that on my resume, it gives people like, oh, he knows what it's like.
Yeah.
He knows the grind. He knows how to work hard. He played at a higher level than the level that we're at right now.
Yeah.
He's seen some of those players that are playing at Miller or AmFam Stadium at Wrigley. He's been with a lot of those players. He has some of those contacts with the managers and some of those people. So I think it gives some credibility. I don't necessarily think it really, I hope it doesn't change too much people's perspective of me, perception of me, but it is one of those things where I know I can walk in and say, hey, this is who I am. I'm an athletic director at a successful Division III school. And by the way, I did play some fairly high level athletics myself.
Yeah.
So it gives you a little bit more credibility when it's all said and done. Now that's 19, 20 years ago.
What I think is really great about it is the reality of what D3 really is. And it is great athletics. You can't go watch your football team and volleyball team and basketball teams and baseball teams and not go, wow, this isn't intramurals. This isn't whoever wants to play gets to play. These are some of the best kids in the country that are coming to Whitewater to play your sports.
No, for sure. And I think that's one of the things that is, there's always going to be a stigma with Division III,
Yeah.
right? If you think about social media and the social media push over the last 20 plus years, it's always D1. And I know we're going to talk about recruiting in the future, but when I was recruiting, and I was obviously coaching baseball, we talked to a lot of families. And I remember talking to these young men and their parents and saying, what other schools are you looking at? Some D1, some this and that. And our standard response was like, there's a low level Division I, and then there's like Texas. Like if you're looking at Texas, we're not in the same ballpark.
Yes, literally.
Buddy, you go do your thing at Texas. But if you're looking at some of the schools that are some of the mid majors that maybe not have had a lot of success in baseball, then let's talk. Because your experience here is going to be as good, if not better, than some of your experiences as some of those mid-major Division I programs. The likelihood of you playing past college when you come here is going to probably be even greater than the likelihood of you playing past college at some of those Division I schools. And what we've had a constant dialogue for the last 25 years at Whitewater is how do we break that Division III stigma with our region, with our community, even to an extent, with our state. And we've been fortunate to have some people that have done some really good things. Obviously, Lance Leipold beat Fresno State. That Fresno State coach was the coach at North Dakota State, went to USC, and he beat him pretty good, pretty handily. We had an offensive lineman sign an $80 million deal a couple of years ago
Yeah.
Lake Bacher having saves for the Florida or Miami Marlins. So we have that. We have the history of success with our individual athletes to say, hey, if you come here, you're going to have a chance. And now with the transfer portal, it's even more because we can say, hey, if you come here, we'll give you a shot somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's easy to sell Whitewater, but it's hard to sell people when they have that Division III stigma. And I think that's something that I know Coach Gard, a lot of the really successful coaches are trying to break.
Yeah.
You had the president from Juniata,
Yeah.
and what they've been able to do with volleyball is unbelievable.
Yeah.
How have they been able to keep those young women that are so talented at Juniata in the transfer portal time? Or how do you get people in the transfer portal time to a Juniata type school?
Yeah.
But we're always trying to break that stigma.
Yeah. I think the key is really, if you're a family and you've got a young athlete, there's a D3 close to you, probably within an hour's drive.
100%.
Just go watch a game. Go watch. And I guarantee you'll walk away going, wow, the talent on that field, the coaching that's going on, it's so impressive. And for us as former athletes, I'm just amazed at how that bar continues to go up every year, aren't you?
It's Matt, it is wild. It is absolutely wild. I'm getting to the age where my oldest is going into 8th grade, and a lot of my friends that are my age have kids that are going into high school. And I tell them all the time, come to a game.
Yeah.
You got a daughter that's good at basketball, come to a Warhawk game. Have them come to a Whitewater Oshkosh game. Two of the better, or Whitewater
Right.
Scout last year. Any of those three teams. If you think your daughter is as good as you say she is, let's see what she's got against these girls, these
Right.
women.
Yeah.
If your son is pretty good at football and he's a 175-pound lineman, I'll get you on the sidelines for a Whitewater lacrosse game. And then I
That's
want
right.
to talk to you afterwards and be like, all right, what does my son have to do? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to hear your reaction to that.
Yeah.
Or if your daughter's a good softball player, come watch us play Oshkosh or Point. See what you think then. Because you're exactly right. The number of student athletes that go play college sports is very small. And the number of athletes that can play at our level is even smaller.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's tough.
And there's a reality to this too, that some of the Division I coaches they're not just saying when they're in their office, they're now saying it to cameras. We're not recruiting freshmen.
Yeah.
Calipari said it 2 weeks ago. Patino said it yesterday. We're not recruiting freshmen. We can't expect an 18-year-old to come in and compete with a 23-year-old. But if you had a great year at UW-Whitewater and you averaged 20 points per game on the basketball court, or you ran for 1,400 yards as a running back, I guarantee you those D1 coaches are now paying attention to you because you're a proven commodity now, right?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's really tough for our coaches.
It is.
D3, we talk about family, right? And I know that's a cliche. Every high school t-shirt that has ever been given out has something with family on it. But it's true at our level. It is a close-knit group. And part of it is because you spend so much time with each other, especially with the change in weeks to days for the NCAA. If you're maximizing those days, you're spending more time than you probably even thought you would spend with your teammates. And on top of that, you're probably living with 3 or 4 of your teammates too.
Yeah.
So over the course of your 3 to 5 to 6 years, however long it takes to get out of your respective institution, you're literally spending 24 hours a day for up to 10 months with the same, at least 3 or 4 people, and then whatever team you're on with those other people as well.
Yeah.
And it builds community, it builds family, it's built connectedness. But now with the transfer portal, our coaches have thrived upon development. Matt, I'm going to get you in as a freshman, and you're this big, you're this strong. I'm going to develop you into a player in 3, 4 years. So by the time you're a junior, Matt, you're going to be a stud.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, what if you become a stud as a freshman and you're gone? And that's what our coaches have had to deal with.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of players to the transfer portal the last 2 years. And some of them, I don't blame them. They're all scholarship kids.
Yeah.
But it's hard for our coaches to adjust to that.
Yeah.
Because they get that relationship. They get to know you. They get to know your family. Your parents are coming to all the games or coming to the away games because it's not very far.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you got to go into the coach's office and say, Coach, I'm transferring.
Yeah.
What do you say?
What do you say? You have to support them.
And you're getting a full ride.
Yeah.
You're not paying anything for school. I think it's a feather in our cap. Our baseball team was really successful this year. We lost guys to 4 scholarship schools. Not what we want to hear, but hey, we won a national title. So what
That's
more do
right.
they got to prove?
That's right.
And now they're going to get the last 2 years of their school paid for.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
I
a bad
guarantee
deal for those guys.
and I guarantee a coach has got 4 kids ready to go that are ready to take all those innings.
He probably does, but he won't tell me that. He's still pretty frustrated.
Yeah, that's life. That's the
Yeah.
part of this. Let's talk about coaching coaches. Because I was an AD at 27.
Ooh, that's young.
And I think the closest person in age on the staff that was a head coach underneath me was probably 10 years older than me. But as I got older and older, I realized it doesn't matter how old I was. It doesn't matter if that person's 60 years old and got 10 national championships. I still had to do some coaching. It was just in a different way than maybe that 35-year-old coach.
Yeah.
How do you go about that? What is your perspective as an AD who's supervising these coaches and coaching these coaches? What role is that in your head, and how do you put it into action?
And Matt, you and I had a similar experience. I took over when I was about 37, and I walk into my first coaches meeting, and I have Pat Miller, who's won 2 national titles, John Vodenlynch, who's won 2 national titles, Stacy Boudreau, who won one, Brenda Volk, who's got 7. It's like a Hall of Fame group. And I remember like sitting there, like calling attention, thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What,
That's
what,
really what you're saying to yourself. I know
what do
what
you
that
mean?
feels like. Yeah.
They're supposed to listen to me? This is impossible. But it kind of goes back to playing at a high level and being a Whitewater person. There's a little bit of respect that I think was just there already. But once I got through that phase of I was almost being coached by my coaches. I know that sounds really corny, but I was trying to figure out what makes Pat Miller tick. All right, what can I do to motivate him to do X, Y, and Z? Football just ran through 7 national titles. It's been a couple years. How do I get that program back to where it needs to be or where we think it needs to be in reality? And I think the first year was really learning from the coaches. What do you want from me? What do you need from me? And then after taking that first year and just learning, but not doing anything crazy. To be honest with you, I don't think I made a single change in probably 18 months. Part of it was working, the other part was COVID, which that was a big part of it. But ultimately, we were really successful. It's like the old cliche in coaching. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
That's right.
We were doing some good things. But then I think I was able to really step back and almost have that 30,000-foot view of now I got to figure out what is Coach Gar doing at Platteville that we can do at Whitewater that Pat doesn't necessarily know Greg Gard is doing, whether it's with fundraising, whether it's with scheduling, because those are the things that our coaches, I don't want them to worry about that. So now I'm trying to evaluate our programs against other programs. The WIC is very strong for just about every single sport.
Right.
Let me take a look at what Oshkosh football is doing. Let me figure out what lacrosse and Eau Claire wrestling are doing and really take that back and say, hey, coach, this is what they're doing. Why aren't we doing that? And there's a couple times where it was like, yeah, we tried that. Okay, then let's not do that. Stuff like that. But I think one of the biggest things, and I tell all of my student staff, and I truly believe this, within leadership, so much of it is being present.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't miss a single game, and you can call my wife and she'll tell you that I didn't miss a single game for the first probably 2.5 years of my career as AD.
Yeah.
Like the only games I missed were ever because of the NCAA convention. And
Yeah.
that was just because we had to. And I think once you get that respect of, oh yeah, they're grinding it with me,
Yeah.
then it's a lot easier to say, hey, coach, can't be doing that.
Yeah.
I was there. I saw it. Or why are we recruiting this and this? Have you looked at this or stuff like that? So I think the biggest thing, one, was just taking a year and just taking it all in. Nobody's going to teach you exactly how to be an AD. They're just not, right? There's the compliance issue that, like you said, you had to figure all that out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those things. We work in a state system. So there's a state system that I got to follow as far as procurement and everything else and HR and whatever else. And there's other things that you just have to have kind of a big picture mentality and say, what are we trying to do here?
Yep.
And that's where I think for me, for years 3 and 4 really helped. Then it went into, all right, now I think I gained their respect. I was at every game. I saw what they're doing. Now I can critique them because I was there. And now let's talk about what are some future plans. Let's talk about roster development. Let's talk about facilities. And facilities aren't necessarily, you can't do those overnight from co.
Yeah.
If you want to get a new softball field or a new baseball field, you're talking 20 years down the road. Maybe not 20, but close to it.
Yeah.
So then it got into the planning phase of what are some of the small projects, what are some of the medium projects, and what are some of the big projects. And one of the obstacles that I had is that I went through, man, I think I had 6 or 7 chancellors to report to in my first 5.5 years.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I have these short-term plans, and now I'm telling 3 different chancellors within 8 months.
And having to
So,
convince them that's a good
exactly.
plan. Yeah.
And now I think whatever 6+ years in, I was reading a book on leadership, and one of the things was like my role as a CEO is to remove barriers from my upper management. And I feel like that's a role of an AD, and specifically at a Division 3, is whatever barriers my coaches have, let me try to remove those
Yeah.
within reason, right? If somebody is teaching class Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, let me see if I can talk to the College of Ed to say, hey, they're traveling on Wednesdays. They're not getting home until 2 in the morning from Menominee, Wisconsin. Do you really want this person teaching at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday or a Thursday?
No kidding. Yeah.
So just trying to remove some of those barriers and really just advocate for what we do, and we're no different than most schools, right? Our athletes have a higher GPA. They have a higher retention rate. They have a higher graduation rate. We're more diverse. We have more out-of-state kids. So I think once you have that data and once you understand your plan and you feel comfortable removing some of those barriers in front of your coaches for them to succeed, it's really just working across campus and within the community to really highlight and advocate for those programs that are doing really well. That I'm not saying we're at like the Flutie effect level in Boston College, but tell you, Matt, when our football team was winning, we had the highest enrollment we've ever had. And I'm not saying it's a direct correlation, or some people say it's just a coincidence, but if you look at the national average of enrollment, it was going down by a small percentage and we were going up. So it's really highlighting some of those things to say, if you invest money in us, we will provide a better enrollment numbers and retention and everything else for the school. And as from a D3 background, the more enrollment, the more money your budget has.
That's
Not
right.
just for you, but for everybody. Right.
Everybody wins. And it's every time you win a national championship, millions of dollars that would have to be spent just to get your name at that level nationally is free.
100%.
And all of a sudden, kids in New York and California and Texas and Mississippi and Minnesota that maybe had never heard of you now knows, where is this place? They won a national championship. They're the best. They're the best in the country.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
look at our baseball team. We got a couple of kids from Texas, a couple from Florida, and people are like, how did you get those? Like they reached out.
yeah,
Like they
right.
reached out and said, this is who I am and this is where I'm at. And do you like me? And yeah, get
Yeah.
up here now.
Yeah, that's what it's 17. I like championships. I'd like to be a part of a national championship. Everybody
Oh,
wants
heck
that.
yeah.
All of a
Heck yeah.
sudden,
For
you're a
sure.
lot more attractive.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not just the baseball team or it's not just the volleyball team. That must be a pretty good school if they're doing this with that. There must be some strength there in other places. So I love that. I want to get into mental health a little bit with you because again, you're a professional athlete. You've been a coach. You've been an AD a long time, an assistant AD for a long time. What are you doing as the AD to think about the mental health of your coaches and your athletes? Are there things that you guys are trying to implement every year from the AD space to make sure there's that balance of life? These kids and your coaches have that place where they know they can go when they're starting to hit some of those low points.
Yeah, it's funny you say this because I really think it's interesting. Division 3 talks about the student athlete experience. That's what it's all about. But there's less restrictions on practice time and everything at our level than there are Division 1s, which is funny. Like Division 1, you have the hours per week, and
That's right.
Division 3, like Matt, if I'm your basketball coach, I could have you practice 5 hours a week for 6 days a week,
Yeah.
and that's legal. So
It
anyways,
wasn't when I was coaching, but it is now.
so that's a separate conversation that I think is interesting. But no, I mental health it's one of those things that's really hard because you never see it. You know it's there, but you don't see it. So one of the things that we focused on, and this is kudos to the WIC, we've really done a good job, I think, as a whole. We do screeners at the beginning of the year for every certified roster. That's done by our University Health and Counseling Center, by a counseling trained professional. They evaluate those screeners to see if there's any kind of red flags. One of our counselors comes over to the Williams Center where our athletics are located once a week every for the entire semester. So you know that this person is going to be there for 4 hours, if not 5 hours or longer,
That's
just to meet.
fantastic. I
Yeah,
love that idea.
just to meet. And it's all anonymous. You don't need an appointment. You just walk in and you talk through some things and you go, sorry. And you just talk to them about whatever you would like to talk about. I think the other piece is that because it's becoming much more prevalent. And there's people like Kevin Love that come out and others, professional athletes that are just saying, I've been struggling. I think the coaches are now starting to look for it. I think they're trying to see if like it's a sign to communicate with somebody.
That's right.
We had a situation last year where somebody said something to somebody else and it just kept going and it finally got to me and it's like everybody handled it perfect because somebody told somebody else and that person told the coach told me, I told the support group and we handled it, we managed it. And I think it's getting much more comfortable for people to talk about. Probably back in our age, in our era, you didn't really talk about mental health.
No,
I think mental health was confused with just grind it out, Matt.
that's
Just
right.
grind it out.
Rub some dirt on it and get back out there.
Yeah. And there's certain things that you do have to grind it out.
Yeah,
If you have a 10-page paper and you procrastinated and it's due in 12 hours, dude, you better grind it out.
that's right.
You got to grind that out.
That's right.
But if you're having that anxiety and you tried to write this paper 3 weeks ago and you just shut down and you just become overly consumed, then you need some help.
Yeah.
Let's talk to somebody. So I think the beauty of where we're at now is mental health is much more open. People are talking more free about it. Obviously, the NCAA is having some waivers with mental health and being a little bit more flexible with some of that. I think that's positive from our end. That's the student athlete piece. We do the screener. We have the mental health professional once a week for the entire year. We partner with our kinesiology department, who the department chair did her PhD is in like sports psych. So she meets with a lot of our teams, more focusing on performance anxiety and performance stuff, less on, the other kind of side of mental health with just social anxiety, depression, stuff like that.
Don't you think that they go hand in hand? If you've
Oh
got
yeah.
anxiety on the field, it's probably rolling over to other parts in your life that you're struggling with because you're probably not sleeping, you're not communicating
Yeah.
what's going on in your head. So to have that performance anxiety support system, I think is huge.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you're exactly right. If you're struggling writing a paper, you're probably going to struggle shooting a free throw
That's right.
or you're struggling doing whatever it is. And the other thing too, and this is a tales all the time, these people are moving away from home for the first time.
Yeah.
Like this is no joke, man. Went for a walk at lunch and I called my mom and I'm like, man, it was so cool to see all these freshmen just coming in, moving around. And I called my mom and I'm like, I had the worst first week ever my freshman year. I didn't know anybody.
That's right.
I like
Yeah.
wanted to go home. And she's, no, you are staying. You're gonna suck this up and figure it out.
Yeah.
And thankfully she did. But I just remember that was hard.
Yeah.
And you get all of these people experiencing something new. You don't know your roommate in your little cubicle dorm, going to the dining halls by yourself for the first time, whatever it is. So it's something that I think people used to just deal with, not great,
Yeah.
that are now saying, I am struggling. This is such a new experience for me. High school was so easy. I had all my friends, and now I'm going to a new place. I have new roommates. It's a new city, new experiences, and I'm not doing well, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, what I tell my student athletes is that there's never a time in your life for the 4 years that you're going to be at college that every single person that you come across on this university wants to see you succeed and do better.
That's right.
But the only way that we're going to see you do better and help you do better is if you tell us if you need help.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah. That was my failure in college. I didn't ask for help. My ego was too big or whatever it was. I couldn't go to a professor and say, "I didn't understand that class. I didn't
Yeah,
understand what you were teaching." It was like Greek to me. I just
yeah,
tried to figure it out. And when you use professionals, when you use those people that are a little bit smarter than you or have that specialty that you don't have, it's amazing what they can do. I had the first golf lesson I've had in years this morning, and because I'm just such a bad golfer, and I was like, I need to talk to somebody that can look at my swing and say, "This is what you're doing wrong." And
yeah,
it was four swings, and she had me hit the ball further than I've ever hit it, straighter than I've ever hit it, and it was such easy things that she was
yep.
telling me and the way she approached it. So I love that idea that you're giving your student athletes and your coaches that that opportunity to say, "Hey, it's okay when you're struggling. Come talk to us. Let's at least have the conversation and let's see if we can help you." So I love
I
that.
think the other part of that is coaching though too,
Yeah,
right? Like one of the things that I tell my coaches is go home.
that's
Go
right.
home.
Get out
Like
of
I
here.
want to go home too. I got a partner, I got 3 kids.
Yep.
Go home. Like the days of just grinding it out in your office until 1 o'clock and coming back at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the next morning. If you want to do that, good luck.
Yeah.
You're going to burn out pretty quick. And now that we have laptops that we can take home, we have cell phones that we can watch recruiting videos on.
Yep.
Don't do stuff in the office that you can do at home because you do need that break. You need that break from your job. You need that break from the university setting of just people constantly working, calling you and stopping in. Their coaches just need to take a break too. So when their practice is over, they're gone. I had our tennis coach. When I was walking back into our complex, he was walking out. I said, "I hope you're going home." And he goes, "I am." I said, "Good,"
Yeah. It's
because he's
great.
been here for 2 weeks, running a lot of practices since they got back, and he's nope. I'm going home and I'm gonna grab a nice dinner and hang out and then grind it back tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you got to take some of that time for yourself.
I'm not so sure that's not your most important role as AD is making sure people are finding that balance. Am I wrong?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's a tough balance, right? Because you
It
want
is.
you want them to work, you want them to recruit, you want them to win,
That's right.
but you also like you want them to be happy too.
That's right.
I know that sounds so corny, but I really
No,
I
it's
want to
real.
I want to come into a workplace where people are respectful, they're polite, they're nice. And if you're in the office 20 out of 24 hours a day, whew, that's rough. I don't know you're gonna be nice to anybody.
Yeah, I want to talk about just what you have at Whitewater and what you built and what you continue to build because it's so special. It really is what you're doing. And I'm building an athletic department for a college out west. That it's a college that's been around for a while and they want to start athletics, and I'm helping them build it. And one of the things I've been teaching them and talking about is doesn't matter what policies and procedure we put in place. We've got to have the people that are going to care about the kids, going to work
For
hard,
sure.
going to
Yeah.
be good people, good citizens, good ambassadors. So I know you have that. And a lot of schools do. A lot of schools have really great coaches and they're surrounded by great people. What is it that Whitewater's doing that's different? What is it that makes this place have so many national championships and you have so many kids that are going on and doing great things? Are there some things that you've been able to pinpoint from being a student there and now being a leader there after all these years?
Yeah, I'll go in a couple of different phases. I think when I was a student here, I remember walking into the Williams Center and meeting these new people. And we have a lot of people from Northern Illinois. And there's some
That's where I grew
pretty,
up.
yeah, man, there's some
Yeah,
really good athletes in Northern Illinois and
there
some of
is.
the suburbs.
Yeah,
And then you have some really good athletes over in Milwaukee. Then you have some really good athletes in Madison. And we're like in the heart of that millions and millions of people. Where my wife is from Illinois. She's an hour and a half away. She came to Whitewater because it was close and it was affordable.
yeah,
My best friend is from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, which was 55 minutes away.
yeah,
And then my other buddy was from Madison. We're
yeah,
in a great location.
yeah,
And we're never going to lose that. We're never going to change, right? Madison is not going to go anywhere. Milwaukee and Chicago is not going to go anywhere.
yeah,
So I think that was one of my first tastes of we're not just competing against people in Wisconsin. Now we have 9 million people 2 hours away from us that we can recruit from.
yeah.
and we're still affordable. And for a long time, the regional comprehensives in Illinois, it, they weren't great. We were a better value for a lot of those students that were looking to have an athletic experience up here. So I think that's one of the things that really set us apart for the last 100+ years. But a lot of it is going to be coaching. If you look at the coaches that we've had, and just going back 25 years, Lance is now at Kansas, doing his thing over at Kansas. We have John Vodenlich, our baseball coach, who's just won his third title. Brenda Volk, who, she's going to eclipse 1,000 wins. Like, a bad year for her is 30 wins. That's crazy. Stacy Boudreau, who took over for Chris Russell, who won a national title and 3 runners up. This list of coaches that we've had at Whitewater over the last 25 to 40 years is really special.
It
They
is.
knew how to recruit, they knew how to win, and they knew how to raise money. And if you have those 3 things, you're going to win, whether you're at Coe or Simpson or Whitewater or Benedictine. It doesn't matter. You're going to find a way. And the last part of that, and now this is something I've really learned in the last 8 years of being in administration, is administration supported athletics. They were saying, all right, we're going to give you this coach, but guess what? They better recruit all out-of-state kids.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you a $10,000 stipend for a football coach if they're going to recruit Janesville, Milton, and Whitewater.
That's right.
They better be in the northern suburbs of Illinois and potentially Michigan
Yeah.
to get some kids out of there.
That's right.
So I think it's location, it's coaching, coaches, and then overall administrative support over the last 30 years. That's really what makes this place special, and their ability to say yes. Like I said before, what is my job? My job is to remove barriers from these coaches that have been there for 25, 30 years. They're winning. They're great people. What can I do to help?
That's right.
Let's try to get a turf field at this sport. Let's try to get lights. We just put in lights at softball. All right, that's going to help us because when we host regionals, now we don't got to call a game in the 3rd inning because it's too dark.
That's right. Yeah, it changes your environment. It changes your culture when you can have night games too, and kids can come outside of class and have a night and watch the games. That's so great. It's
so
really great.
Those are the 3 things that what I think separates this place from our competition, other areas in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I love it. And I just want to scream it at the mountaintops to all the executives at small colleges. You have to put the time and the money into athletics because it's going to come back to you. Athletics is a boomerang when you do it right. You want more beds, more kids in beds? Build your athletics. They're going to grow that. They're going to fill those beds for you.
But you have to support athletics.
You do.
You can't just, and that's where I could scream this from the mountaintops. Like, I know there's colleges in Wisconsin that I have buddies that are working, and they're like 60% incoming freshman class is athletics, but they got 1 basketball coach and a $2,000 stipend assistant coach.
Oh,
That's not fair. It's not fair. That
no.
if you're getting 60% of your freshman class as recruited student athletes, every single one of your programs should have a full-time head and a full-time assistant because they're bringing in the dollars for that campus.
From your mouth to God's ears. I mean, we can't say it enough. We can't say it enough because the more full-time staff you have, your athletes are healthier. They're going to get better faster. They're going to get more coaching. They're going to get more support. There's more eyes on them. There's not just one person that's getting burned out on discipline and order and leadership. You get to spread the wealth and everybody's healthier. And when your coaches are healthy, your kids are typically healthy. Right.
And you're probably on the D3 ticker, get the emails every day and everything else. And
Yep.
I looked at a job, or it was a promotion, and it was like the basketball coach is now the associate AD for compliance, event management, and strength and conditioning. Like, how? That's 28 hours a day.
That's right.
How does that person survive?
Yeah.
How do they have a life?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably got paid double what they were making as a head coach, but I'm going to give that 2 months and that person's going to be like, you can have the money.
That's right.
it's not about titles and it's not about always, a lot of it's about salaries. I get that, but
Yeah.
you can't, at these smaller schools, you can't have a coach wearing 15 different hats. It's not fair to the university,
Yeah.
to the students, or to them and their families.
It's not. It's not. And I'm so glad that we're able to say that out loud, because parents need to hear it just as much as the presidents and the board members need to hear it. The coaches need to know that there's people fighting for them. So I'm so glad you're out there doing it, Ryan. I want to do a little rapid fire for you to wrap up this segment, and just so
For
people can
sure.
get to know you a little bit. You down with that?
Yep.
All right. Best ballpark you ever played in?
Ooh, I got a tryout. At the time, it was Miller Park. So that was pretty cool. I'll say
Yeah.
number two is I was in spring. In the Florida State League, we played at all the spring training grounds and the Yankee Stadium where now the Tampa Bay Rays are playing.
Yeah.
Played there about 15, 20 games. That was pretty sweet.
Steinbrenner Field. Is that what it's called
Yeah,
now?
it used to be called like Memorial
That's right.
Park, something like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, those were probably the two that were pretty special.
That's cool. Favorite UW-Whitewater sports moment since you've been an AD?
Oh man, I'll tell you, I tell my kids this all the time. My top five moments in sports used to revolve around the Packers and the Badgers, and now they're 100% Whitewater.
That's
I
right.
will say the one that I think about the most is Matt Anderson intercepted the St. John's quarterback on the last drive to go to the Stag Bowl in 2019. It was night game, ESPN. I got down to the sideline just in time, and it was so loud. It was awesome.
Yeah,
It was so cool.
that's
And then
awesome.
we lost to North Central, but that was a great moment before that.
That's great. One word that best describes your leadership style.
Oh man, respectful.
I could see that. That comes 100% out. I'm going to give you the dream dinner guest question. If you could pick three people in sports, alive, past, who'd you like to have dinner with?
Ooh, that's tough. I'll tell you what, I watched the Euchre celebration of life. So it would be tough not to have Euchre there and just hear and just let him
Oh,
talk.
just let him talk. You'd laugh all
Just let
night.
him
Yeah,
talk. I played hockey growing up, so I got to go Gretzky in there just to hear
yeah,
some of his stories
pretty
about
good
what
one.
he went through. And then, man, Billie Jean King. I got to go her. Just everything that she went through is just amazing. And the impact that she's had over the last 50, 60 years is pretty special.
You talked about the leadership book you're reading. Is there a book that you recommend to coaches and that are in athletics?
Quinn Studer. Quinn Studer is a gentleman that he's a Whitewater grad and he got into hospital surveys and quality control. And he sold his company, got out, and he started writing a bunch of leadership books. And now I'm going to blank. I think there's The Leader in Me. There's the Busy Leader's Handbook. That's another good one. And it's really quick. They're very easy reads, but he's close with our baseball coach and our football coach, and he would always send me a couple copies. And there's just some things in there about different scenarios and just having difficult conversations. But yeah, Quinn Studer's got some really good leadership books.
That's great. I'll check those out. And we get to promote a Whitewater grad too.
Yeah,
Even
for
better.
sure, for sure.
All right. Coach, thanks for doing this. It's an honor to have you on. I'm so excited to see what you're going to continue to do at Whitewater with all your great coaches and student athletes. But I'm excited to come back and talk a little recruiting with you.
Yeah, for sure, Matt. Thank you.
What an incredible conversation with Ryan Callahan. His journey reminds us that leadership isn't about titles, it's about influence and trust and the ability to elevate those around you. From his days on the mound as a Warhawk pitcher to overseeing now 22 varsity programs and working alongside some of the greatest coaches in Division III sports, Ryan has lived what it means to lead with loyalty and humility and vision. If you want to keep growing as a leader, or if your school or organization is looking for someone to challenge, inspire, and prepare your athletes, coaches, or staff, I'd love to come speak with your community. You can learn more and connect with me directly at coachmattrogers.com. And don't miss part 2 of our conversation. Come back Monday, September 22nd for Ryan's significant recruiting episode, where we dive into the college athletic director's perspective on recruiting. Until next time, stay focused, stay humble, and keep leading with significance.